Hello, this is Logan reporting live from Germany. Today I'm here to talk about women in World War I. The question for today's report are, how many women were accepted for active duty during this war? And what year was the first strike for equal pay?
What is the use of fighting for a vote if we have not got a country to vote in? Just days after Britain declared war in 1914, the suffragette Mrs. Emmeline Pankhurst cleared the way for suffrage campaigners and millions of ordinary women to work for the war effort. As the nation's men headed off abroad for the front lines, years of undreamt of opportunity and hard slog followed, where women began to taste independence and were also able to prove that they could do men's work. They made shells and bullets, they drove trams, welded, they heaved coke and coal, entertained troops to the sound of gunfire, and played football in front of tens of thousands. All activities thought absolutely beyond a woman until now. Life on any front line in war is tough, I know that, and the home front in World War I demanded both courage and endurance. Families shattered by bereavement, injured men coming home, and at the end, no national acceptance that women should hold on to the new status and skills they'd acquired. So, what did World War I really do for women?
This is what women are wearing in the war. During World War I, women were recruited for jobs that men had vacated. These jobs included working in the munition factories, railway guards, ticket collectors, buses and tram conductors, postal workers, police, firefighters, bank tellers, and clerks. Women replaced the men in all jobs, created a resistance in society because women were being hired for what was once called men's work. Women employment rates raised from 23.6% to 46.7%. The government also began to organize the hiring of women. The munition factories became the single largest employer for women in 1918. Inside the munition factories, the women worked in horrible conditions. They worked with TNT. TNT is the explosive material inside bullets and other weapons. TNT would turn the women's skin yellow. 400 women died from TNT exposure during World War I. By 1917, the munition factories produced 80% of the weapons used by the British Army. Now, for a commercial break.
My feet are so cold. McKenna, you should have came in Crocs. My feet are so warm in these winter days.
Let's go get some.
Let's go.
This piece of propaganda created World War I was to make sure British women would make their men enlist in the war. Now back from the commercial break. When women began replacing men in all jobs, women were paid less to do the same work. This didn't seem fair, since some women began to refuse to work for lower wages. The women received lower wages than the men because of their lower strength and special health issues. In 1918, the first strike for equal pay led by women in the UK. In 1903, the National Women's Trade Union League was founded to help protect female workers. Social problems such as women and children working conditions became national issues. Since women were paid less, people began to worry that when men came back, people would continue to hire only women. This caused a change, so during the duration of the war, women would be paid the same as men. But when the men came back, it would go back to how it was, and women would work alongside men for lower wages. World War I was the first time women were recruited into the Army. The Navy and Marines accepted 13,000 women for active duty, and the Coast Guard accepted a lot fewer. Women were finally able to enlist for other jobs that would free up men from the U.S. to go overseas to fight. This was also the first time that the Army and Navy nurses would be on active duty overseas. Most women worked as nurses in the Army during this time. The first ever black women were accepted as nurses into the war. There were only 18, and they were only able to work on black soldiers and German prisoners of war. The women fighting in World War I also received the same benefits and pay as men during and after the war. This is an accurate map of the women in World War I because it addresses their mobilization, including their engagement with war effort as well as their resistance to it. This is it for today's report on women in World War I, and I'm your host, Logan Gaspard. Goodbye!
This war is being fought by women. It is women who suffer and encourage us. Women are the ones whom honor will be due when the war is over, and they will deserve honor for their in establishing democracy. John J. Pershing. So cold. McKenna, you should have came in Crocs. My feet are so warm.